What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Beyond the Backboard podcast, and again, welcome back to another 2-minute drill. I keep doing that every episode. Once an episode, I'm doing it. 2-minute drill. This episode is dedicated to the Contenders' percent chances on making the finals, and we got four teams from each conference here. I'm gonna briefly go over them before we get into it. Celtics, Milwaukee, New York, and Philadelphia. Mavericks, Nuggets, Timberwolves, and Oklahoma City Thunder. So we're going to talk about those. And I guess the first people we could kind of talk about is the Boston Celtics. What do we think, guys? Because they just made the finals. They just made like the easiest run in NBA history. What do you think is going to happen next year?
I mean, I would give the Celtics. Shoot, they're the incumbent champs. They're rolling. I'd say they've got to be the favorites. I'm going to give them, which is by far the highest rating, I'm going to give any team. I'm going to give them a 60% chance of making the finals this year. And again, just to be clear to people, this is not winning the finals. This is just making it, winning your conference. So I would say the Celtics have a 60% chance of winning the East this year as overwhelmingly the favorites.
Mm-hmm. I'll say I'm gonna go a little step away from Max here, same area. I'm gonna give him a 50% chance. I feel like I'll give him a 55 because I feel like they're a little bit above like 50-50 of making it back again. I think it just takes a lot to get to that level. And not saying injuries were the only reason they won. I don't truly believe that they have a great team. But this year they're going to have to take on a couple new teams being developed out there in the East. So I think it's going to be a little bit harder. And for that reason, I'll go 55%.
I guess keep in mind, boys, since we're doing 4 teams for each conference, your percentages theoretically for the 4 teams should add up to 100. Just keep that in mind.
Theoretically, but we're not doing all that. Anyway.
Okay. All
right. You know what? We'll do it.
It doesn't make sense otherwise.
We'll do it like that. But I'm gonna be different from both of you guys. Okay. But for the same reason that Earl said, there's going to be a lot of teams in the Eastern Conference this year that are made to beat the Celtics. So I'm going to have to go with even like a 45% chance of them making the NBA Finals. I do think it's the highest percentage by far, and I'm going to give them their respect. They are again the incumbent champions. We cannot decline that in the slightest. But again, for the same reasons that Earl said, there's a lot of teams out there that could beat them. And they've shown that a little bit last year. And to be completely honest with you, we've all saw that, they had a heaven on earth type of run to the finals. So I'm really looking forward to closer matchups, because when the Celtics have closer matchups, I think it's a better game, and I think it's better for the league. So I'm going to go 45% chance with them.
Sounds good. All right, next up, let's do the 76ers. For me, I'm going to give Philly a 15% chance. Not super high, but they still do have Embiid. They've got Paul George now. They got Maxey. They got their big 3. They're all in on this. Well, maybe not like all in, but like they've signed a bunch of veterans. Their roster is now deep. They probably have one of the deepest teams in the East. If they can use that depth to their advantage, I think they have a good shot. So 15%, that's like a 1-5, 1-6. There's a shot Philly makes the finals for sure this year.
I'll be quick. I kind of agree with you. You're at 15. I'm at 12% for them. I think they definitely still have a lot of stuff to figure out. I mean, adding a guy like Paul George to your team, he needs the ball in his hand. Adjusting to that, plus Joel Embiid, plus Tyrese Maxey, I think it's going to take time for them to all mesh. And then plus all the role players. They have a really deep team. So they got to figure out who's getting the ball, what actions you're running. And I think it just takes a little bit of time for stuff like that to adjust. So I'm going to give 12.
So, okay. And I'm going to say this because we've seen Philly have great teams and underperform greatly. And it could have other situations to be dealt with, the coach or the owner being a little stuck up-ish or anything of that caliber. But the reason why I'm giving them a 10% chance, a little lower than you guys, is again because of their history. I see they have a great team. I see they have a deep team, and some would say even deeper than the New York Knicks. But how many times have we seen a situation where there's too many cooks in the kitchen? A lot. And Embiid, I'm not going to say Embiid is like super focused on offense. Like he needs the ball in his hands to be effective. I don't think that's the case. I think he could play great defense, and I think he could do everything else great. But what about Maxey and Paul George? Can they really offer much better? Like, How is Paul George on defense? Is he by any means an elite defender? Is Tyrese Maxey by any means an elite?
I mean, it's Paul George, respectfully.
Respectfully, and look, I could be wrong, but we've seen what Paul George did with a Kawhi Leonard, and if you can't win with Kawhi Leonard, who brought the Raptors to an NBA Finals with them only replacing DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, I hear you, but like it's Joel Embiid.
MVP
a season ago. If he wouldn't have got hurt, bro would have been averaging about 40 points a game. We're talking about in December, this dude was putting up crazy numbers. Like every single game, cooking. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Omar,
our percentages are so close, but yet our differences are so far.
All right. Next up, let's do the Knicks. I'm gonna give the Knicks the same percentage chance I gave Philly. I'm gonna give them a 15% chance. I think the Knicks and the Sixers are very evenly matched in terms of chances to make their finals. They're both kind of built to beat Boston. They both have really good chances. They're both committed to this year. Obviously, the Knicks could have gone a lot farther last year if they were healthy, but hopefully now with a healthy Randall, with Mikal Bridges in there, we still have to see them fill out kind of the center position. That's TBD, but I think as long as their center position is able to be held down, I think they have as good a chance as the Sixers to beat the Celtics. And if you're able to beat the Celtics, you're basically going to the finals. I don't think you beat the Celtics but lose to anyone else. So 15% for the Knicks for me.
All right. I'll go next. I think I have the Knicks at 10%. No offense to the Knicks fans. I think you guys have a great team, great defense all the way around, but I still feel like you guys have to figure out what system you're going to run. I know we talked about Julius Randle being like the hub of wanting the ball pretty much every possession. We've seen kind of how he looks on the court next to Brunson before that. Obviously, before he got injured, they kind of worked things out, but now you're adding more pieces to the puzzle. So I think it just takes time to adjust. So I'll give 10%.
I'm gonna have to stick with Max's answer here. I think 15% is a little bit closer. I'm not saying it's probably exactly 15%, but I definitely think it's a little closer than 10% there. And it's very close because the Knicks have a really good defensive team, and it's like almost every single person on that roster is a two-way player. And I'm going to disagree with Max for one thing. I know Earl said that he's like Julius Randle is like this offensive hub or something of that caliber. Max, no, he's not. And he's not going to be that player coming into this season.
I didn't say that.
I see you shaking your head going and smiling.
I'm saying I said that. I said when he's in the game, he acts like that. Like he demands the ball in such senses. Like that's just how it works.
Sure. And 100%. That is right. He's not going to be able to. He's not going to be able to get the chance to. Is what I'm trying to say, because almost everybody around him shoots almost 40% from three. We look at Jalen Brunson's numbers; he's just above 40% from three. We look at Mikal Bridges' numbers; I think he's about 44, 45% from three. We look at
stop the cap.
We look at OG's. That's not it. I'm sorry.
I don't know.
5% from three.
Yeah, he's not that high, but. Listen, your point stands. Like, I think
Dante DiVincenzo, early 40s, 42, 43%. The point still stands. We have, and while Julius Randle can bring himself in the paint and give the Knicks more of a like aggressive presence down there, who knows?
He just shoots about 37%.
Really? Damn.
All right.
This in the collab, Max. Put this in the collab.
You act like this is 28-15 Warriors.
That shit's going to be 2 hours long.
With the Bucks, what do we think? For me, the Bucks, I'm going to give them a 10% chance. Maybe a little higher than I should, but I'm going to give Milwaukee a 10% chance of making the finals this year. They're running back Doc Rivers, which I think is at their detriment, but they are running back Giannis and Dame. I think they would have had a really good playoffs. Again, if Giannis was healthy, if Dame was healthy throughout. Their bench didn't really get too much better, but they got a couple decent signs. I think Gary Trent's going to be nice for them. So there's a shot, an outside shot, not a top 3 team in the East, I don't think, but with the star power they have, I think they always have a shot of getting hot in the playoffs. So that's worth 10% to me.
All right, bet. This is our last East Coast game, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Dang, I forgot. I was actually kind of counting more like half and half with my percentages, but wait, are the percentages per conference?
They don't have to add up to 100.
They don't have to. I'm gonna have mine add up, but
Like in total, everybody. Or are you talking about?
I don't think there's really any other team other than the 4 in the East that have a shot of making the final. So I'm fine with having mine equal 100%.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say because I have
never say never, but like I would be shocked if any other East.
Again, yeah.
I was gonna say I have like 23% left. So
okay, then yeah, you could give 23 to the other teams, but yeah.
Yeah, because I was thinking like because if we're doing finals chances, like I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know what? I'll give the Bucks 8%. I'll tune the Bucks down to 8%. I'll give the rest of the East 2%. The other 11 teams can split at 2%. Bucks are at 8.
No. I get what you mean. But like just for the sake of this video, I'm just gonna do like my 100% chance for these 4 teams, so it just makes more sense in my head.
Earl, if you need more time, I can answer.
Oh no, I have my answer. I was just
perfect.
I was saying since this is wrapping up my East percentages, and I'll start off with the West. I'm going to give the Bucks my last bit of juice, and that's going to be 23% chance. I think the Bucks are the last team on this list who have a team that they've actually built. Like people forget about the Bucks. The Bucks have a team they've been developing for the last couple of years. Yes, they lost Drew Holiday. I get that, but we're talking about Damian Lillard. They still have to learn how Dame and Giannis can play together. Giannis really never got a chance to kind of defend his coast, like his standing in the East, because he got hurt. Like he didn't get a chance to play in the playoffs this year. So with that being said, I think when you have Dame and Giannis, we haven't seen him in the playoffs. So I'm gonna give him a 23% chance. I think he's hungry this year.
Okay.
I was about to go 20%, but you brought something more into light, and that was like their defensive problems. And I always grew up on the fact that defense wins championships, and you need defense to create offense. And all of that good stuff you learned when you were a kid, because believe it or not, that is the truth.
So what are you going to give them?
I'm going to give them the respect that they deserve because they are former NBA champions. I do think that defense is going to be a problem because of the lack of it. But I think I'm going to go another 18% for the Milwaukee Bucks. Slightly above the Knicks. Give them their respect there. But not on the level of the Celtics because of them just winning a championship, and I don't know how they did. I don't know how Giannis did in the series together. Have they ever played? I think they have played a series.
Yeah. No, for sure, yeah.
So I think with that new Celtics squad, so it'll be interesting to see. Moving on to the West Coast.
Yep, we're going to get into the West. Let's start with the Thunder. The Thunder, for me, I like the Thunder. I'm going to give them the highest grade of anyone I'm going to give in the West. I'm going to give them 40%. I really like the moves they made in the offseason, getting Hartenstein and Caruso. I think that's really going to help them. They were the 1 seed last year as a really young team. The running back, basically the same pieces now, but they're just more developed and they got deeper. So West is stacked, West is loaded, so I don't think anyone has a better than a 50% chance, but 40% for the Thunder seems right.
I'm not gonna lie, there was like 3 teams that got first place last year.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I'll go. I kind of agree with Max here. I'm gonna go 35%. I think the Thunder definitely still a young team, but like you said, they got Hartenstein, they got Alex Caruso. I mean, they got a lot of great defenders on that team. Lou Dort and Alex Caruso on the court together is gonna be kind of scary. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and speed run here. Give them 30%. We good?
Yeah. Same thing here. I'm gonna give them Earl's percentage. I'm going to give them 35%. Same reasons. Isaiah Hartenstein and Alex Caruso, great additions. Isaiah Hartenstein's actually going to do a lot of wonders for that with under team. And it's like no reason why he left. He left to a finals contender and a team that can offer him more money. So I don't hate their moves at all. I think the Thunder are going to stay at the top of the West for at least for the next 2 or 3 years, considering that they have Hartenstein for that amount of time.
Yep. Fair enough, yeah. Let's go to another young, exciting team in the West, the Minnesota Timberwolves. For the T-Wolves, what I get, the Thunder 40. I'm going to give the Timberwolves a 20% chance of making the finals. I think they got a decent shot. Year 2 of Ant Edwards kind of being the guy and being a dominant player. We're going to see if he can really take a step into like the elite tier of NBA category. But I think Ant's knocking on that door already. Obviously, you got Cat, you got Gobert. If Mike Conley still has enough in the tank to be your starting point guard, great. If not, you might have to look at some bench pieces, find an alternative. They've got some decent rookies. So I think if they're going to make the finals, you're going to see those rookies play a big part, kind of like Lively did this year with the Mavericks. So for Minnesota, I'll give them 1 and 5, 20%.
All right, I'm gonna give Minnesota 28%. I know I gave OKC 35. I think the Timberwolves, like you said, they didn't really make a lot of moves in the offseason. Their team is pretty complete how it is, and the only thing I have to measure them being different off of is their rookies. So I don't know. I think Thunder just made a lot more moves, so I have to put them a little bit under.
Yeah, no, same thing. I gotta agree. The Timberwolves had a great run going into this year, and I'm really looking forward to see what Anthony Edwards looks at, like full prime, and like I'm really looking forward to that. But it's going to be interesting for the next couple of years because I feel like with the next team that we're probably going to bring up, it's going to be a 3-way tie for at least the next 3 years, and it only speaks to the level of competition inside of as Earl coined it, the Wild Wild West.
Yeah. So, I don't know which team you had 20, in mind for bringing up, but I'm going to bring up the Mavericks now. Was that the team you had in mind?
No.
Oh, Nuggets?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do it. Well, I don't know. I actually think the Nuggets and Mavericks have similar chances. I'm going to give the Nuggets – I mean, honestly – I'm going to fade the Nuggets a little bit. I'm going to go 15% on Denver. I don't really love their odds. I think they're obviously still solid. Their team is not too different from that championship roster. But losing Bruce Brown hurt them last year, and losing KCP, I think, is actually really going to hurt them. Like, these losses are starting to pile up, and they're not really getting anyone to replace them with. Like, they have Westbrook now, TBD on whether that works out. Christian Brown needs to step up. Julian Strawther needs to step up. But barring that, I don't think they have the best of odds. So I'll go 15%. I think it's the same as the Knicks and the Sixers. A lot of star power there, but can they put it all together?
I'm going to go 10%, man. The Mickey Mouse Nuggets, the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse Nuggets are done. Jokic, I appreciate what you've done so far in your career, but I just feel like losing those type of valuable role players, it's going to hurt that team. Like, you're going to miss a KCP who not only shoots the ball well, but he plays great defense. I think people underestimate that about his game. I know as a Lakers fan what he did for us. So I'm going to go 10%. Russell Westbrook.
What do you think?
Y'all forgot who the Nuggets are. 20% chance.
Okay, that's not out.
And you know what? That still doesn't interfere with my take that I had earlier this year that Jokic was not going to win another finals. He's still Jokic. He is still the reigning MVP for the past 3 years. He shouldn't deserve less than
3 or 4. I respect it. You know, the bad Denver at least a little more than maybe we do, but
going to be less than a 20%.
All right. Now for the last team, I kind of hinted at it before, but the Dallas Mavericks, the reigning champions of the Western Conference, I'm going to give them a 25% chance. I do think that Dallas has a good chance of making it back. They didn't really lose many pieces. They added Klay Thompson. Lively's going to be in year 2. Luka's still Luka. Now that he's been to the finals, hopefully he can figure out how to put together that finals run and do it again, kind of now that he knows what it takes to get there. I keep banging the Quentin Grimes drum. I think by playoff time, Quentin Grimes is going to be starting or being a 6th man that plays major minutes for them. So I think that will make a bit of a difference. I'll give him a 25% chance. Not as good as the Thunder, but still, I would say probably second best odds of making it in the West for me.
Yeah, I'm going 27% with my last bit of percentage I have left. I agree with Max. I think they did a good job of acquiring players. Klay Thompson is going to make it a lot easier for this team to score. We've seen them struggle with their role players hitting the easiest threes. Plug and play him in there, plug and play Quentin Grimes in there. They're not missing those same shots that other guys are missing. So for that reason alone, I think they're going to have another great season and have a really good chance to pretty much do what they did last year.
Yeah. Keeping this nice and brief, 15% chance. I don't think it's a knock on them in general. I think there's a lot of great teams in the West, and it's going to be hard to get out of it. And that concludes our list. If you guys want more content like this, be sure to tune in onto the Beyond the Backboard podcast on YouTube. We post our other podcasts on Spotify, not these. These are exclusively on YouTube. So be sure to tune in on YouTube. Yes, be sure to make sure you're on YouTube. Make sure you're on here. Every week, we're posting one of these videos, shorter content. Thank you guys so much. Like and subscribe to the video. And peace.
Peace. Bridges 40% from 3.